Once a year, we celebrate Greek Orthodox Easter, which is usually 1 week after Catholic Easter. And the celebrations are not only on Easter Sunday, but also on Good Friday and Good Saturday, so 3 days in total. And even though Easter is being celebrated all over Greece, Santorini is a little special because of what we do on Good Friday. So this video is split into 3 parts. What we do on Good Friday, Good Saturday, and Easter Sunday. Let's start with Friday. All over Greece, Good Friday is linked to the epitaph procession. The epitaph is a canopy representing the Christ's funeral, which is paraded around every village of the country. Multiple villages in Santorini have such a procession, but if you're in Santorini on that day, there's only one village you should be at, and that is Pyrgos. Pyrgos doesn't do just the parade, they do something much bigger. This is what Pyrgos looks like on Good Friday. Tens of thousands of these big candles lit all over the town. The best day of the year to be in Santorini, in my opinion. Okay, so let's rewind a bit. People start gathering in Pyrgos around 7:30 in the evening, 30 minutes approximately before sunset. And don't be surprised, it's gonna be packed. Thousands of Santorinians who live in Athens come back to the island to celebrate Easter with their relatives. And since Pyrgos is by far the most unique place to be on Good Friday, everyone's gonna be there. Now, where exactly should you go? Well, I would say anywhere you have a good view of the village. The prime location is what we call the Castelli area, or the castle area, located at the very top of the hill. But one thing to keep in mind about the Castelli is that there's only one passage to enter it or leave it, and that's this short tunnel you see here. This was made on purpose during the Middle Ages in order to better defend the town against pirates and invaders. But this is what it looks like when people start to leave the Castelli later in the evening once the show is done. So yeah, just keep in mind, if you go to the top of the village where you have the best view, it will take some time to exit afterwards. If you want to avoid this, just stay in the lower parts of Pyrgos. One great spot, for instance, is the view you have from Penelope's Ouzeri. I'm gonna leave you the GPS coordinates down below. Okay, so once you found your spot, make yourself comfortable because you're gonna be there for a while. Definitely wear warm clothes because April evenings are pretty chilly, and as you're waiting, you'll notice thousands of unlit candles on everyone's rooftops and even on the blue domes. And then around 8:30 or 9, when it starts to get pretty dark, you're gonna see this. Some flares are gonna go off, and that is the signal that the candles can be lit. And so, here we go. You're gonna see dozens of guys with blowtorches jumping into action, sometimes in a pretty sketchy way. Make sure you have enough battery on your phone because you'll want to take 1 million pictures of this. Shortly after this, the epitaph procession will start. The canopy will be taken out of the Church of the Assumption of Holy Mary, which is Pyrgos' main church, and will be carried all the way down to the bottom of Pyrgos, going through all the narrow alleys. But you probably won't be seeing much of that, because there's gonna be hundreds of Greeks following it, since this is one of the most important religious processions of the entire year. Now, at that point, the show is pretty much over. You can wander around in Pyrgos to take some more pictures, and then it's probably time to go for dinner. Now, needless to say, you need to book a table in advance if you want to have any chance of eating in the area. At least 1 week ahead, probably 2 if you want to play it safe. The restaurants I recommend are Mythos, Madame Soussou, and Pyrgos restaurant. If all these places are already sold out when you're trying to book, then I suggest you have dinner at one of those 3 places before the procession starts. So I would get there around 6 p.m. They will still have available tables at the time of the day. Oh, and one more thing. If you rented a car, do not use it to go to Pyrgos on that evening, unless you arrive before 6. Traffic and parking get really crazy that night, so either you get there early or you come by bus or taxi. Okay, so this was for Good Friday. 24 hours later, on Good Saturday, there's another amazing celebration. This time it's not in Pyrgos, but at the Profitis Ilias Monastery. Now, on normal days, you can visit the yard of the monastery with their cute little chapel and their souvenir shop, but the door of the actual monastery where the monks live is nearly always shut. On the evening of Good Saturday, however, look, the door is open. People start arriving around 11 p.m. Once you're past that door, you can go and explore the monastery if you want, but the locals will just stay there on this long terrace in front of the walls of the monastery. You can also try to join the Easter prayer inside the monastery's church, but unless you arrive very early, you won't even make it inside the church. Look, this is the best footage I managed to get of the church I had to stay outside, it was completely full. And by the way, when I say it's full of people, I guess you understood we're not talking about tourists, right? These are all locals. A few minutes before midnight, the monks will exit the church and come outside where everyone has been waiting. And this is when the candle ceremony starts. Now, what is this candle ceremony? Well, a few days prior, the holy fire, which spontaneously appears every year in Jerusalem, has been flown to Greece. It's always a pretty big event and it's all over the news. The holy fire then goes from the main candle to multiple other candles, which will each travel to other parts of Greece. And one of these candles will be for Santorini. And so when the monks are coming out, they're actually holding that holy fire, and they will now transfer it to the people who brought their own unlit candles. So for a few minutes, you will see everyone in the crowd transferring the flame from their candle to their neighbors, and so on. It's a very unique and emotional moment. And you might be wondering, what happens to all these candles afterwards? Why do locals bring their candles in the first place? Well, once the ceremony is over, everyone drives back home, and with their candle, they're gonna burn the shape of a cross on the frame of their front door, which is supposed to protect your household for the coming year. So yeah, if you want to do it like a local, you can get yourself a candle before going to the monastery. Where can you find a candle? Very easy. Earlier that day, you will see kids selling them on the streets all over Santorini. Okay, so back to the ceremony. Once midnight hits, the bells of the monastery will start ringing. We've officially entered Easter Sunday, which means Christ has resurrected. At that point, the monks will start singing the religious song of the Christ's resurrection, and all the locals will sing along. It's a very beautiful and authentic moment. Here is how it looks. Alright, so how can you get to that monastery? Well, there are no buses, so only with a rental car or by taxi. A taxi from Fira to the monastery will be around 40 euros one way. Oh, and once again, bring a jacket, like a thick one, because since the monastery is on the highest point of the entire island, it can get extremely windy up there, and April still has chilly evenings, so with that wind, it's even worse. Alright, that was for Saturday. Now let's talk about Sunday. Sunday is all about food. Because remember, many locals have been fasting for 40 days until Easter. No meat, no fish, no dairy, no alcohol. So when Easter Sunday finally comes, it's party time. Lamb or goat on the spit or in the oven is what you'll want to try to put your hands on. But the demand is high and the offer is limited, so you need to make a reservation. Where can you find any? Well, many restaurants will be serving it, but I can't tell you which ones because it changes every year. But your hotel will know. Oh, and if you like weird food, then you should try kokoretsi, which is basically all the organs of the lamb chopped into smaller bits and roasting on a separate spit. I personally love it, but I won't lie, some Greeks will skip on that because it's pretty strong in taste. Oh, and in case it wasn't clear, everything I just said about the lamb and the kokoretsi, that's only during Easter time. Don't think that if you're coming in July or August, you'll be able to find all of this. It's only one day per year. And if you're into sweets, then you have to try Santorini's traditional Easter pastries called meletinia. Those ones are very easy to find. Every single bakery on the island will have some ready for you. Alright, this video is super important. 10 things you need to know before coming to Santorini. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have some surprises there. And this one is on whether or not you need to rent a car in Santorini. And there you go. Hope you liked it. See you in the next one. Bye.